Hello, writers. Yesterday we had a big writing lesson where you had a lot of jobs to complete. Yesterday we talked about organizing our facts into different categories. So, like in my book about bats, I wrote one page about bats being nocturnal. I'll also write a separate page about bats being mammals, and I'll write other pages about other things. But eventually, my goal will be to have 5 pages of different facts on them, and that will create my All About Bats book. Now, like I said, yesterday we had a lot of jobs with you having to go through your first page of writing and decide which topics belong on which page and everything. So if you are still working on that, that's fine. But today I want to talk about something that's really important for these informational books. When we write all about books or nonfiction books, we are only including facts and information that helps other people learn something. We don't want to include things like opinions or feelings or things that happened to us, because those are not nonfiction informational facts. So here's an example of that. Let's say I was writing my book about polar bears, and in that book I wrote a page like this. What if I wrote, "Polar bears are white. I saw a polar bear at the zoo. It swam up to the glass. They catch seals. It makes me sad when they bite them. They can't catch seals in the summer because there is no ice." Did you hear some things in my page about polar bears that weren't facts? You heard me say polar bears are white. That's a fact. That's something that I could research and find out that that's always true. Then it says, "I saw a polar bear at the zoo." Now, is that something that belongs in my informational book? It's true that I did see a polar bear at the zoo, but that's not a piece of information about polar bears. It's something that happened to me. And it's not something that I could research in a book and find out whether that's true or not. That's just a personal experience that I had. So when I go back and I read a page like this that I wrote and I see something that's an experience that I had or an experience someone else had, and it's not information, it's not a fact that belongs in this book, I should take that out. In fact, I'm going to cross it out right now. My next sentence says, "It swam up to the glass." Now again, that is something that did happen to me, and I did have that experience, but it's a personal experience. It's not a fact that belongs in my informational book. My next sentence says, "They catch seals." Now that is true. That's something that I could research in a book about polar bears or on the internet and discover that it's a true thing that they catch seals, and that's information that does belong in my book. The next sentence says, "It makes me sad when they bite them." Now that is a feeling, right? I'm feeling sad when I say it makes me sad when they bite them. Now that might be true. It might make me sad when I read about a polar bear biting a seal, but that's not a piece of information or a fact that belongs in my All About book. That's, again, something that happens to me that has to do with me and not facts about polar bears. Then my page says, "They can't catch seals in the summer because there is no ice." Again, that's true. That's something that I could research, that I actually read that in a book, so that's how I got that information. So that's something that I should leave there. So now I have this page where I had to cross out a couple of sentences, and remember that I always write in marker because it's a lot easier for you to see under the camera or on this video. You're not writing in marker. You would be erasing your pencil marks if you had to take something out. But when I read this piece now, it says, polar bears are white. They catch seals. They can't catch seals in the summer because there is no ice. Do you hear how there are two different subjects on this page? Two different topics? The first part says polar bears are white. That's talking about something different than when we're talking about what they eat. So actually, I should take this first line and put it on a different page because it's talking about something other than what the rest of the page is talking about. The rest of the page talks about how they catch seals, but they can't catch them in the summer because there's no ice. So the seal stuff should go on one page. The fact that polar bears are white should go on another page because they're two different topics or two different subjects. So today we're thinking about what belongs in our informational books and what doesn't belong in there. Things like facts, information, stuff you've researched, that does belong in your All About book. Stuff like personal experiences, feelings, your own thoughts about the topic that you're writing about, that doesn't belong. Even saying like, I saw a polar bear once, it was so fun. That might be true, but it's not information that teaches someone something about polar bears. So when I read your pages about whatever it is, whether it's Minecraft or strawberries or teeth or whatever, I shouldn't see anyone writing, it's fun, because that's your personal feeling. That's not information about your topic. So today, if you notice that you wrote anything that's like personal experiences or feelings in any of your other pages, make sure you take that out. And going forward, remember, we don't include those things that have happened to us in our informational books. There's another time and a place where we can write about things that happen to us. Today, your job is to spend 10 to 15 minutes writing in your informational book, your All About book. Maybe you're ready to start a new page about one subject. So like if I'm writing my book about bats that I started yesterday, maybe today I would write a second page with new information about bats. Yesterday I wrote about bats being nocturnal. Maybe today I'll write about bats being mammals and what that means. So our job is to try to organize this information so that we're only writing about one thing per page, and we will eventually have 5 pages with different information on them about the same topic. So if I'm writing about bats, my whole book will be about bats, but I'll have 5 pages of different information about bats. All right, have a great time writing. I'll see you tomorrow.